Okay, it's 4:30. Let's call the meeting to order. Mr. Koob will not be here tonight. Over attendance, we have Mr. Bogard, John Mel. John is in there. Johnny there?
So.
Yes, sir, I am.
How you doing?
Doing great, thanks.
Okay, so we have a quorum. Joe is obviously here also. Any adjustments to the agenda?
None.
Okay, review of the meeting minutes from last meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we accept the minutes of September 25th, 2023.
I have a motion, do I have a second? I'll second. Any discussion? All in favor? Public to speak. We have no one from the public to speak.
Shocking.
Correspondence, any correspondence to be read into the record?
None.
Reports of the commission. Do we have any?
That would come from you folks.
Right. None of which I'm aware of. Which bringing me to reports of the airport manager.
I do have a few things to talk to you about. Later in the agenda, you'll look at the NDOT inspection report. I did meet briefly with member Sarazano. We went over the runway, for half an hour or so, just to familiarize him with the facility. I know he'd been there before. We went through the building, took a look around. So we looked at that. We looked at the report that's in your file, and we'll talk about that at number 10. We're working on, meaning the town staff and I are working on budgets. I've taken a look at the airport budget. I don't see need for a lot of change in there unless you folks have in the operating budget, which is separate from the CIP that we'll look at later. But if you have any thoughts about things you'd like to see up there, let me know. We're going to look. John won't be able to see this. I'm sorry about that, John. What I'm going to show them on the screen is the FAA weather cams. It looks like I closed it out.
Okay, is it new since the past couple of months, or is it the same format?
It's basically the same. Lifelight put this in early summer. Let me pull it back up so you folks can see it. And really, it's the vantage point from the tower that looks south, east, west. You can just basically see the runway if it's got snow on it or something like that. But I won't show that to you. I had it up, I lost it.
Yeah, I only asked you about it last week, Joe, because someone mentioned to me that it wasn't working, so I checked it, and it seemed like it was frozen for a day or two.
And then maybe we get random power glitches up there.
Yeah.
There's spikes and stuff.
Yeah.
There's 8 Bravo 0. I know that's a ways away from me, but there are 4 camera locations. And I can send this link out, John, so you can see it. Basically, this is the one that shows a clear day. This is a stock photo. This is a dry, clear, good weather day. And this is current. In my report, I'll tell you that the windsock is not in great shape. I've ordered 2 of them actually, and they're taking a while to get here. As soon as they get here, they'll go up. So you can see the runway. Paved areas there. Then if you go down here, you can go that's northeast. Just kind of shows you more the sky than anything there. That's looking towards Saddleback. You can see this is west. So Lifelight sponsored this. This was a grant that Lifelight got to put this camera up. I wanted you to be aware that that's there. You just go to FAA weather cams. This is through the FAA site. I can send you that link. You just go to on the map over here, you go to Rangeley. You can go to any of these airports you want. If you go to Rangeley, you can see this. I think it's got a 10 or 20 minute life cycle. So it's a still photo. It's not a video. Right. Which is part of why I'm bringing this up to you now. We're talking about budgets. I know we talked about video in the past. This wouldn't do much for us in terms of security unless you happen to catch a still shot. But this had no cost to us, so this is available, the general public can look at this.
But we did have some money from a grant that would allow us to purchase some cameras for security, right? And then we put it on hold
We did,
while we did this.
we did.
Do you think we still need security at the gate area and the two gates and things to?
I think
see
it would be
who's
a
coming
good
and
idea,
going?
I do think it would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Let me follow up on the grant, let me take this down so you can see John. Let's talk about the grants for a minute. So we did have a $9,000, I think a $20,000 CARES grant. Those have both, because of the deadlines and things associated with them, I've taken approved costs and plugged them into those grants. So we effectively spent the 9 and 20 on operational things. Basically anything up there that's operational, fuel, electricity, all that stuff. So we'll get that money from the FAA. That's not to say that, we shouldn't pursue the
Well,
cameras.
wasn't there another one for like 119,000? Yeah, for some types of
That I don't,
improvements. I would say it goes back like 3 years ago.
I don't recall that one. But those are the two that we had was the 9 and the 20, so. That's something I can budget, I can look at other grant opportunities, but I kind of think that it would make sense. Some type of video.
Should we vote to move forward, have Joe move forward with some security type cameras?
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah, I think so, I like that idea.
I'll make a motion that
Okay.
we authorize Joe Roach to move forward with some security cameras up at the airport.
Second.
All in favor?
Great.
I think that's a great idea, I mean, if you have some drunk kid going up there in a car or whatever, whatever.
Well, that time I was up there and those guides from up north here had, someone flew in, the person they were guiding flew in and he was a semi-professional athlete from somewhere. And they were trying to pull the chain apart on the gate this side of the fuel farm so they wouldn't have to carry the guy's luggage. So, and, that's kind of a benign instance, but,
Right.
they could have had worse intent. And no one would have known any different.
No, better over than under.
Any other updates, Joe?
Nothing under this item. I'll touch on a couple of things, mainly under the inspection report.
Okay, so let's go to number 9, old business, the CIP update.
So I've shared this giant form with you. John, you had this in email from a while back.
Yes, I just printed it out.
Nothing's changed on it. This is what is a result of when I met with the FAA, not the FAA, the main DOT at their headquarters building early in the summer, late spring. Disregard the notes on the bottom, they're confusing and they really are not germane. Some of them are just results of chatter in the room. We're not thinking about putting fencing up. That would,
If they ever did though, and don't put up a 5-foot fence, you
No, no.
dummies.
well, I don't think an 8-foot would work if the deer was up right over that. I mean, that's- That was the conversation we had in the room, that
Right.
you're gonna build more of a zoo. You're gonna keep animals in as much as you're gonna keep them out.
Right.
By having a fence.
And there hasn't been any
Yeah,
need determined for a parallel taxiway at this point.
right, exactly. And the plow blade, the timing just didn't work out on that, so that was a BIL that we were going to pursue, but we removed it from the.
So these notes are irrelevant.
Essentially, I do need to continue to work with the FAA, as noted here, a couple of spots, in terms of documentation for the aircraft storage. Can't remember if I said that to him or not.
On the obstruction easement, that's ongoing, right?
That is
You need
ongoing.
to continue that.
Let me give you an update on that, I should have given that during the reports. I sent another round of communication letters, follow-up letters to the owner of the two properties. One is it's the same owner of record of the storage facility of the house next door. House is next door is for sale.
But it's changed hands in between. The guy that bought the storage building got that lot with it, built a house for his grandson. That was sold to another party, and now that party's selling it again, so.
Yeah, that one is for sale. I have been in touch with the real estate agent to try and at least let him know that, you know, we're trying to work on a couple, 2 or 3 of these trees that need to be trimmed down. That's where that stands. So that's the update on that, but back to the CIP. So that is an ongoing project because there's the front end of it. Hopefully by written agreement, we can just get the immediate issue taken care of, the 2 or 3 or 4 trees. And then long term, I really think the town should have an easement. That's kind of a different conversation, which will require all this work.
What's with the last one?
The
Will
master.
T hangers be condos or something?
Yeah, I don't, like I said, just disregard the notes. I don't know where that came
What
from.
the heck?
I don't remember where that came from.
Somebody's gonna turn their T hanger.
Workforce housing.
There you go.
There you go.
Stovepipe coming up.
If you look about halfway down the page, airfield marking, it's in the blue there, and
Yeah,
I think it's in 24, yeah, it's in 24. That was something that I brought up during that CIP meeting, because I obviously have noticed that,
it was cited often in the
Quite
inspection
faded.
report.
and then it's also cited in the report, so it is in the CIP for next year. That's right now one of the most important things as far as I'm concerned, because that's gonna be fairly expensive. The rest of it is, you're all pretty much familiar with. So that's the CIP. If you have any desires or thoughts about that we ought to be including in there, let me know. That I won't be meeting with them until next spring, late winter. But, you know, we can change this as long as it's beyond a couple of years out.
Anybody have anything else for that want us to talk about? Let's move on to number 10, that new business, the main DOT inspection report.
So I shared this with you. John and I looked at this when we were on site. John and I actually went around and made visual observation of the lights that are pointed out in here. And since then, I've ordered the bulbs. We had 2 of the glass, so the end lights are different bulbs than
The reels,
yeah, they're different bulbs. So we have the smaller 2-prong bulbs in stock, but I had to order the other type. So when I get those in, I'll have the electrician go up and help me with those. And then also there are a couple that are completely just missing. I believe we have what we need for hydrants. I was up there the other day for the posts. I know there's snow on the ground now, but I think we can get to it before it gets too hot and heavy. So the lights that we need, the bulbs that we need are on. We should be here any day.
What's the status of, if I could interrupt for just a second, Joe, seeing as though you're on this topic, status of the windsock and the gate? Has the gate been returned to its horizontal position?
Yes, the gate is back down. I'm not sure why it was up that time we were up there, but so there are 2 codes for it. There's the code that operations uses, and then there's an emergency code. And I don't know if somebody had been in there with the emergency vehicle or had some type of delivery or something that used that code so that it would stay up. I don't know. But to reverse it, you have to use the same code. So I've got it down. It's the gate is operational. Sometimes in the winter, we haven't had this problem in a long time because we put a shroud on it. But when they put that in, there's like a big belt in there. It's like a long spot. You saw it, John, I think in the back, there's a spare. It's like a long snowmobile belt. And in the winter, when the snow is driving with the drifts and the snow gets in there, the thing will stick because the belt slips. But Earl and I got a shroud on that years ago, so that hasn't been a problem since. So the reason that was up the other day was somebody put the emergency code in it and didn't re-enter the emergency code and put it back down. I'm not sure, but a camera would have helped me figure out what happened there. And the other question was the windsock. So those have been ordered, and I don't know what the holdup is. I sent an email to find out where they're at. They have been shipped, but I don't know exactly where they're at in that process. So as soon as they come in, or as soon as it comes in, we'll put it up. I ordered 2. We have one on the shelf up there, but it's the completely wrong size. I found that out. So. And the 14 Pappies, they're up and running. That was a process to get those lights. Finally got the right person at Kraus Heinz. So those are in. Wes has got those put in. He put them in as soon as they came in. So it wasn't Wes, it was a supply chain issue with Kraus Heinz. And I finally got the right person. He helped expedite that. But that tilt switch, which is the size of my phone, a little bit bigger, is like $2,000. So I've ordered a spare one to have on the shelf, so we'll find ourselves in the spot.
Yeah.
And that NOTAM, I believe, it expires the end of the week.
This week,
So that'll be all cleared out. Faded paint, obviously, we already talked about that. I mean, you're bound to see some goose debris up there. That's all plowed off by now. Crack sealing, we did some a couple years ago, probably should do some more according to Tim here.
Those Pappies, are the Pappies on like all the time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, yeah, there's the 14 and 32, so they are supposed to be on by design all the time. The way they're configured, the way they're designed is that if one of them comes out of calibration, one of them comes out of alignment, because the earth moved or deer ran into it or something, they all are supposed to go out. And that's what, essentially what happened on the 14N, that switch malfunctioned. Because it malfunctioned, all went out. You can bypass it, but I'm not doing that. That's nothing.
No.
So. John, did I miss?
that crack sealing probably, every time the town does some, which seems to be every 2 or 3 years,
Yeah.
you know, the town hires somebody to come in and crack seal the roads, they ought to do it at the airport at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, just for efficiency purposes.
Yeah.
Because there'll always be at least a limited amount to do up
Yes.
at the airport every,
Yep.
you know, 2, 3, 4 years.
Good point.
So yeah, just like most of this is faded paint stuff.
And lights.
You know, like,
We've got some lights straightened out there, but we've got a really good run on that, we're almost done with that. But the paint is gonna be quite a project. Quite an expense.
so it's holding up pretty well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's in pretty good shape. And the guys at the plant mow it every fall, they mow the sides of it. They just did that 1 month ago. Looks good.
Any other comments? John, you have this, right?
Yes, I do. The only other thing was, what about the runway lights that are actually missing, Joe? Is there a plan to get those reinstalled?
Yes, when the electrician comes up, I think we've got the posts, I know we've got the posts we need in the back room to replace those. So there are 2 different sockets, John. After we met, I went out and did some more research in there. And there's a socket on the long sides of the runway that's like a 2-pin, and then the one on the end is more like almost like a screw-in household type light bulb. So there are both of those types of posts and sockets in the SRE room. I think there's enough there to replace those couple of missing ones. I'm gonna do that all at once. When the electrician comes, I'm gonna have him come handle all that stuff.
Okay,
That's good. You guys, Mark, Joe, Donnie, anything? Sorry, anyone?
Keeping up with the cracks.
Keeping up with the cracks too, the cracks, the paint. I like them. So if we're done with that. Announcements, any announcements?
Nope.
Next meeting date, we're talking about skipping.
Skip December, go to
December,
January, the
go right
last
to
Monday in
January.
Which is,
The 29th of January?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
All right, so the 29th of January. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Thank you, John.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, John.
You guys.
Right. So long.